In this video I'm going to show you what an agricultural land looks like for deer hunting and kind of just what my deer hunting property layout is. And hopefully this won't be applied to all parcels, but in this particular spot I know there's a lot of parcels out there like this, so I'm just kind of giving you what my parcel design looks like. So we are on the farthest part of the property, and we still own out to this field back here a little bit behind the camera, but we have a four-wheeler trail right here, and I was actually coming out here. I trimmed a couple of four-wheeler trails to get into bedding areas and into the micro food plots and stuff like that right now. But this is pretty much our last strip of trees right here until all of this. So this is the end of the trees. I mean, it goes beyond our property, probably all the way back there, almost towards town, 2 or 3 miles away. It goes all the way back here. So we got the tail end of the wood line. So that's kind of neat because we can hold a lot of deer. We're the farthest away from town, and they like it a lot here because there's not very many cars and stuff like that. So we're pretty far away, and actually have a blind set up right here. The reason why I don't hunt that blind is because it's in a bad spot, and during the rut sometimes we'll come out here and shotgun and hunt, but I just don't like that because the bedding area is only 50 yards away. We can easily spook deer, and so before it was there it might have been okay to hunt, but now that it's there it's probably not the best to hunt. I'd like to put wheels on it and be able to tow it around and hunt it there. Obviously not towing it around during season, but before. Maybe that'll be something we can do later. But before you can see the back tree line right here. So there's this strip of trees, and then this tree, and then we got this back tree line. So there's a field, as you can see, all here, the tree line, and then it gets another little portion of the field, and then it goes into the pasture. And so we occasionally have deer in that front portion of the field, mainly does and bucks because it's closest to the house, or does and small bucks because it's closest to the house. But trail camera set up here last year, we had a lot of good buck pictures on it, so that's really cool. And we got a lot of creeks in here. There's a creek right behind this camera that kind of dips down and goes back up to the four-wheeler trail and the field. This is a so we can basically maneuver the outside edge with the four-wheeler, which is really cool. And so this is a good primary food source besides the other huge food source on the other side of the house and the other side of the property. It's probably 500, 600 yards away, and the field itself is probably 60, 80 acres. So it's a pretty big field, and deer are around it all the time. We see them a lot. And so it's really cool because it's out my bedroom window, and I can wake up and look outside and see deer playing around and does out in the field eating. And so that's really neat. But we got this whole food source right here, right next to the doe bedding area. And so next we're going to go to the doe bedding area, and I'll show a map on here, and just from the point that we're at right now to the next point. And so this is a good primary food source right here, and it'll hold a lot of deer to eat during the evening hours. So here we are in the doe bedding area. We've got the field right here, and so as you can see, some of the switches. This is some switch right here, and switch is very good for winter, and it does not lay down during the winter at 2 years of growth. This is 1 year of growth, and it's still doing really well for as much snow as we got, and especially right here because there's big snowdrift, and it's still sticking up pretty well. It's So during next year, when it's 5 to 6 feet tall, the snow won't really even touch the switchgrass. So we're going to be planting red osier dogwood in this spot this year. I've got a natural site on the other side of the property, far away, and I'm going to transplant that into this bedding area, and we're going to hopefully help this bedding area a lot more, and that browse will really get those deer in here. But if you're planning on planting red osier dogwood, you need to make sure you have cages around them, because deer absolutely love red osier dogwood, and they will come right to it and eat it. And so it's kind of funny, because if you look on Google and you type in is red osier dogwood deer resistant, they say it is, but that is a very good plant for deer. They absolutely love eating it, and it's in my opinion the best shrub to put out for browse in your bedding areas, and to just have daytime browse while they're bedding. And so we got an old rub right here, and doe bedding here, and this is a great doe bedding area. Got some thorn bushes. We're gonna plant hybrid willow trees in here, and like I said, red osier dogwood, and hopefully we'll have just a straight line, and that'll really be a good wind blocker, and it should be looking really good by next year. And the good thing about transplanting red osier dogwood is, because if you buy seeds, it'll probably take 2 to 3 years before those seeds will actually grow and be able for deer to browse on them. But if you can just transplant them, then you have them instantly the next season. And so, as long as they're tall enough, obviously. We have some red osier dogwood back there that's probably 6 foot high. That's crazy. It's doing really good back there. So it's a really cool spot. Worked on it a lot last year, and hopefully working on it a lot this year. Got a lot of plans, and planting trees, browse, switchgrass, you name it, food plots and stuff like that. So I can't wait to share that with you guys. And like I said, I'm just gonna go through the property and give you the overall layout and what I'm doing this year and what I've done in the past years. And so now we're gonna go take a closer look at the switchgrass and see how it's doing. Then we're probably gonna head over to my where I put my blind out last year. I had the blind just exactly right behind the camera, and it's really cool. I just found this is natural switchgrass that I just found, and not a very big pile, but I'm pretty sure this is natural switchgrass, which is really cool to find here. And so I had a trail camera up on this tree. Don't know if you can see it or not, but I had a trail camera up on this tree last year for the season, and then I left this part of this thorn tree back up because they can still eat. They took all the thorns off of it, and it looks like something did eat on it, and there's a huge buck rub on it. And I had a Pope and Young worthy buck just about 6 feet away from me right here. Wasn't able to see him that year, but I got a really cool picture of him, and he might have been the one that made that rub. It's a really big rub, so it's on the back side of the tree. And if you remember from last year, this area right here that's all dead was going to be my browse plot, and I'm still kind of debating back and forth whether I should do it or shouldn't. I'm thinking about making it just another bedding pocket instead of a browse plot, but I'm still going to put red osier dogwood in it and stuff like that. So hopefully we can do that this year, and if we can't do it this year, then we're going to do it the next year. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to make it a bedding pocket. I had, I think, 2 buck encounters out of this line, and I have multiple pictures of bucks because this is really far much grass and maybe put a few trees in it, and then we're going to put a road dogwood in it too. And so this is a really neat spot, and I really want to find a tree that I can put up a ladder stand on, a quiet stand, so I can get in here in the early morning. And the blind was super loud. I still saw a couple bucks out of it, but I think my chances would have been a lot better if I didn't have had that blind. I would have been able to had enough time before the season to set up a ladder stand. So hopefully we're going to do that this season. And so now we're going to go to the micro. So right here we're in the micro food plot. It didn't really make it past the winter very well, but it should probably come up during the summer. And right behind the camera again, we have the hang on for ladder stand up 2 years ago, and shot my target buck 10-pointer double splits, double brow tines on them, and that was a really cool hunt. Worked all summer putting this food plot in by hand, and it's really, like I said, it's a micro food plot, very small, but if you're going to do a micro food plot, I suggest doing clover, and that will really help. Even half and half clover for forage during the October months and summer months, and then winter greens like turnips and radishes. And so that was really cool, seeing how this attracted deer tremendously, even though it's a micro food plot and it's very small. And so had a trail camera up on here, got a good amount of pictures, and had my buck eating in, my target buck eating in here a lot. And so that gave me a really clear thing that I should go and hunt this spot at a specific time. And I got him November 16th, and that was really cool, right in the middle of the rut. And 2 minutes before shooting light ended, I shot him. And so it was really cool, and I was so scared that he wasn't going to come in time. And I actually I'm sitting like this, and he came from behind me on my access trail, which he was kind of sniffing. He was trying to figure out my wind, but I used some scent elimination. Not saying that works all the time, but even my wind was blowing back towards him. But sometimes that scent elimination stuff usually works pretty well. And so I used Scent Killer Gold, and I kind of play around with some other scent eliminations and see which one fits the best. I rely directly on the wind, but back to the hunt. He was coming in my access trail, and I think he kind of saw me, and he walked back a little bit. And so he's behind me. So I'm trying not to move too much and turn around. There's actually 2 forks in the tree like this. And so I stuck my bow through the forks, and I shot him at 20 yards. It was a perfect hard shot. Went about 80 yards and died in the pasture, which is where we're going to go look at after this. And so that was a really cool hunt. Shot a buck out of this spot, and actually shot a button buck out of there, out of here, standing right here that year too. Wasn't able to find him. Coyotes got to him. But I've kind of changed how I've hunted since then, and so I'm trying to grow this deer herd as much as possible. It's a very small deer herd, and so the most I've ever seen here is 8 deer, which when I saw that, I was blown away. I thought that was the coolest thing ever, to see 8 deer. And that is still really cool to see 8 deer on this little patch of trees, really, in this little patch of woods. And so the micro food plot was clover, and I think it had an alfalfa mixed into it too. And so they really liked it. I used Comeback Kid from Domain food plot seed, and I actually planted some in the 1/4 of the acre food plot too, which we're going to go after the pasture. So that was really cool. Got a creek right here, got a crossing right here. So overall, this was Now we're gonna go ahead to the pasture where that buck died and talk a little bit about what I saw in the pasture.